Hey, at 10, just going to go through the rest of Algebra 5. We've been solving quadratics for the last couple of lessons, and there's just one extra thing to do, which is solving quadratics, which only have two terms. We've done ones with 3 terms previously, but now you're going to do ones with just 2 terms. And this will require you to apply your knowledge to solve quadratics with 2 terms only. So, just a reminder of the method that we did last time for the 3-termed quadratics. The first step is always make sure the quadratic is equal to 0. The second step was factorize. And then the third step was solve. And the good news is the method for today is exactly the same. That's the one good thing about maths. A lot of the times, just learn a few basic fundamental concepts and you can apply that to a lot of other different things. So we're going to make it equal to 0, we're going to factorize, and we're going to solve if needed. So e.g. number 1 is this quadratic. It's only 2 terms. X squared minus 12x is equal to 0. First thing we check is it equal to 0? Yes, it is. Step 1 done. Step 2, factorize. Now remember, when you are factorizing quadratics which only have 2 terms, most of the time it's going to factorize into a single bracket. Okay, so let's see if that does work for this one. If I'm going to factorize into a single bracket, well, this would be x times x. And this would be 2 times 2 times 3 times x. And is there anything common? Yes, there is. So this does go into a single bracket. X brackets whatever's left over, which is x minus 12. And that's the factorizing done. X brackets x minus 12. Then the third step is solve. Remember, this is equal to 0. Is equal to 0, use the logic of you've got 2 things, there's a times sign there, x times this is equal to 0, either the first thing is equal to 0 or the second thing is equal to 0. This equation is already solved for you. This one, we have to do it by adding 12. X is equal to 12. So 2 answers, x is 0 and x is 12. Right, e.g. number 2. Gonna keep going. We have a 2-term quadratic, x squared minus 9 is equal to 0. Only 2 terms. Go through the same method. Is it equal to 0? Yes, it is. Step 1 done. Factorize it. Now, because it's got 2 terms, we try and use single bracket factorizing, because that's most of the time that's the one that works. Let's see what would happen if you tried that with this. So try x times x minus 3 times 3. If I look to see what's common, there's nothing common. So single bracket doesn't work. So how can you do this? And the thing is, there's an alternative. There is a special case which you need to be aware of. X squared minus 9 factorizes into x plus 3 and x minus 3. It's called the difference of 2 squares. So x squared, 3 squared, difference of 2 squares. It goes into this. And now we're ready to solve. This is equal to 0. And then either the first thing is equal to 0 or the second thing is equal to 0. And it gives you x is equal to negative 3 or x is equal to plus 3. 2 answers. Now, before I move on, some of you, if you were given this question before going through this chapter at all, you would have been able to solve it by using some of your older methods for solving equations without factorizing at all. Because if you remember what solving equations actually are trying to achieve, you're trying to make x the subject, trying to get x by itself. We've done that in each of these cases. X equals, x equals, x equals, x equals. It was very difficult to make x the subject in this because there was multiple x values, and the only way I could do it was by this factorizing method. But it's actually not very difficult at all to make x the subject in this, because there's only one term containing an x. So an alternative would be tramlines. Add 9 to both sides, gives you x squared is equal to 9. And then the inverse of squaring something is square rooting to give you x is equal to the square root of 9. But the problem is you've got to remember when you square root something, when solving, you get two answers, plus or minus. So you get plus or minus 3. X equals plus 3 or x equals minus 3. And then that matches up with the answer I got on the left. So if you do it this way, it only works for this special case. You get the same answers, but you might forget one of the solutions. So my exam tip is, when solving a quadratic, you should expect to get two answers. There is possibility where you only get one. That would be when the brackets are identical to each other. But you should expect to get two. Okay, so expect to get two answers when solving quadratics. Then you would have noticed that one, if you forgot about the plus and the minus, this might have triggered, oh yeah, maybe I need to consider if there's another answer. And that would be it. So you just need to practice now exercise 10. And 10 star. I'm going to do them both. They're both on page 321. And you're going to do workings in your book. You're going to upload those workings to the class notebook so I can check to see you are doing the work. And you are going to mark them yourself as well using the answers at the back of the book. And if you have any questions, then you have to post a message in the Teams chat. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much. Speak to you soon.